Welcome to the 2019 Baldies Awards. These are the deliberation videos. Let's see if I can say that. It's tough. We intend these things to be watched sort of after you watch the Baldies ceremony. So if you haven't seen that yet, maybe go check it out and then come back if you have questions or want to see the whole process. Maybe wonder why we voted a certain way. This is where you'll get all that information. Also, we're going to spoil every single bit of everything on this list. So if you haven't seen it all, don't watch this. If you haven't seen every piece of television and film that came out this year, you probably shouldn't watch. That's not true because this is actually not intended to be a comprehensive list of everything that came out this year. It's actually just everything that we saw, either one of us saw, that came out somewhere between January 1st and December 31st, 2019. So if you're wondering, oh, why didn't X get included? It's probably because we didn't see it or it didn't come out this year. So yeah, I think without further ado, let's check out the Baldies.
We are back with another deliberation. We are going to be doing Best Male Actor. Again, the way this works is you have to be a actor in a television show that aired during 2019. Movie acting is not eligible. And as you'll see, there's all kinds of implicit and explicit biases that, drama tends to trump comedy. Guest starring roles tend to be trumped by main feature starring roles. But that might give you a clue to how we are going to deliberate this. But we have a huge field of candidates. Let's get right to it. I suggest we do it to the top method. It's worked for us so well. Rise to cream. Drop the crap.
Drop the crap. I still want to know what separates from the cream.
It's
when you rise it to the top.
The cow serum.
It's the milk. It's the cow.
Mahershala Ali as Wayne Hayes from True Detective Season 3.
To the top.
Paired up with Stephen Dorff as Roland West from True Detective Season 3.
Both to
Hard
the top.
to take him to the top because they're already there. Let's keep rolling. Ian McShane as Mr. Friday, American Gods.
Really? That's what he got nominated for, not the Deadwood movie? I guess no movies.
No movies. Ooh, that's that really test our
yeah, because he's excellent at Deadwood.
Yeah, we have to throw Timothy Oliphant on here, a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, he's fine. He's going to be dropping. Jared Harris as Valerie Legosov from Chernobyl. Do we want to take him and his partner Boris Sherbina? Okay.
Yeah.
The Chernobyl boys. Whoa, Chernobyl boys. What the F?
You did not cut. That's for sure.
Okay. Let's take him and put him to the top.
To the top.
I think I need to do that.
Henry Cavill. I haven't seen him.
Henry Cavill is Geralt of Riviera.
Of the Riviera, yeah.
I don't think I want to send him to the top. We'll see how things go. Anna Chalotra and
no, she's off the list.
Yeah, she's dead.
She's off the Best Male Actor
sorcery.
list. Sorry,
sorcery.
Anya, you tried to sneak in.
Sorcery. James Franco as both Vincent Martino and Frankie Martino from The Deuce.
To the top.
Probably goes to the top. What about Paul? His and Big Mike. Chris Coy and Mustafa Shakir.
Top. To the top with all of them. Keep Thaddeus Street in there too.
All right, bam.
To the top.
To the top.
A lot of those are going to get eliminated because they're very small roles.
They're very small roles, yes. Anthony Starrs, John / Homelander from The Boys.
Yeah, to the top.
To the top?
Yeah. He's fucking terrifying.
He's fucking all right. All right, speaking of fucking, Wes Chatham.
Wes Chatham to the top.
And Thomas Jane.
To the top.
This is Amos and Joe and Miller from The Expanse.
Well, that's Stephen Strait to the top. Let's just
Stephen
put them all
Strait.
to the top.
All right,
Let's
all
keep
The
it going.
Expanse
Tim
boys
Blake
going
Nelson.
All right, Tim Blake, Jeremy Irons,
top.
Rami Malek, Elliot B.D. Wong.
God, this field is too good.
How about Scoot McNairy? We want to send him to the top too.
What? To the top? Why not?
Okay. Oh, Robert Sheehan as Klaus Hargreaves.
Okay, here's where we can have a discussion.
I gotta take these guys to the top first. All right. God damn. Just I don't know. 52 card pile up here.
Klaus is the guy who sees the dead.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very kooky personality that I really like.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on To the Top?
I'm no. I feel like we've already sent a top 10's worth to the top. I'm not inclined
To the
to.
top 20. Here, let me
Do you want to?
let me just do one of these. Boom. What do you think about that? There are 20 in the
There
top.
we go. Well, I mean, so I think this is in the Henry Cavill range. What about Noah
Okay.
Schnapp as Will Byers from Stranger Things?
I still think it's not to the top.
Interesting. I think he's the only of the kids who made it from True Detective or from Stranger Things this year.
Yeah, other than Millie Bobby Brown is 11.
All right, Bill Hader to the top for Barry, his performance in Barry. What about Anthony Carrigan as NoHo Hank? Stephen Root as Fuchs, and Henry Winkler as Gene Cousineau.
To the top?
Surely not all of them.
I guess I want to talk about all of them, but I don't. They definitely won't stay there. I'm not,
Okay, so this is the people we're sending to the top we want to talk about. Is that how this is going?
Kinda, yeah. Like everybody
Okay.
else, we're just gonna kind of put them in the dustbin.
Well, then I better throw Henry Cavill to the top too, because I think he needs to be at least talked about from that standpoint.
Oh man, there's so many to the top.
So many, yeah. This is your fault.
I can't help it. They're all so good.
What do we have up here?
Like,
Okay.
I really enjoyed Aziraphale and Crowley.
Are
And
they top worthy?
I want to top them, but like,
well, we want to talk about them. Shit, on Julio Torres as Andre from Los Espuques. What about Andrew Scott as the hot priest from Fleabag to the top?
yeah, Danny McBride can stay where he's at.
Okay, what about Walton Goggins as Uncle Baby Billy?
I feel like he's very much in the same Danny McBride bag here. Like, he's kind of just playing the character he always plays. Like a lot of these actors are getting pigeonholed into doing what they do so well.
Sure.
Which you can make a career out of, but I don't know that it stands out at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, Walton Goggins is playing just Walton Goggins.
Yeah, he's smooth. He's, countrified. He's very much like
Walton
Boyd
Goggins.
Crowder.
Yep.
Except maybe a little less intelligent.
Yep, a little bit dumber, a little bit more comedic in his styling,
And a little more religious.
But
that's about it.
Okay, so do we just want to just talk about all these guys? Because we just made a mess, Jim. We just went through a list and did nothing. We did no work.
Is there any way we can delineate from?
We moved our pile of laundry from one side of the bedroom to the other. Is what we did.
We eliminated 5. Ian McShane is where I think the top stops.
Yep. Fuck Ian McShane. Fuck Robert Sheehan from Umbrella Academy. Fuck Noah Schnapp and Stranger Things.
But
Dan McBride.
But don't fuck Noah Schnapp. I don't think he's legal.
Get fucked. Walton Goggins. No one wants to suck an old man's cock. Get out of here. All right. So let's go up to the top. Michael Sheen as Aziraphale from Good Omens was very good, proper, prissy, kind of Epicurean or hedonistic angel that started off, garden to garden, like he's supposed to. But man, life on Earth is pretty nice. We make really comfy shoes.
It is, and he forms a friendship with a demon.
You got I mean, they're supposed to be here, kind of like fomenting things, and the interesting, and I think the really cool thing about the relationship is it starts off, they're arch enemies, and they realize that, like, you know what, if we both try our hardest, we keep each other in check. And we foil each other's attempts at both evil and good.
And we both sort of enjoy the lives we built in this plane of existence.
So what?
And we don't want that to go away.
So what if we just don't do that?
Yeah.
And we just hang out for a couple thousand years.
There's no difference.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks the same. We'll keep filing the action reports, and it very much feels like a relationship like an established gangster gets with a corrupt police official. And they just kind of agree to, like, oh, maybe you'll throw me a couple bones here and there, but and I like it. And you could talk, David Tennant as Crowley from Good Omens he's the counterpart. He's the kind of the more of the rock star. He's got a little like a sleazy thing to him. He's like evil but with a lowercase e. I don't. Yeah, they're good. They're good, but like I doubt they make the top 10 now that we've gone through the top 30.
Yeah, I think Michael Sheen is pretty excellent. David Tennant is playing more on the natural charisma that he has as a human being, which I don't want to discount totally, but like I feel like the Aziraphale performance was harder for Michael Sheen than David Tennant's Crowley performance. I almost feel like you could have just popped in to David Tennant's living room and gotten the same footage.
Yeah. So you think Michael Sheen's playing a little bit more of a character?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last thing I saw Michael Sheen
I've seen them both in a
was,
lot of things.
Yeah, last thing I saw Michael Sheen in was Masters of Sex, and he was a completely different character.
Tron Legacy, he's sort of a similar-ish character.
You're right. He's
Except
like the
a little
nightclub
more of the
owner.
Crowley in him, but like that sort of eccentricity.
Okay, let's talk about Julio Torres as Andre from Los Espookys. I like this better than both of these people, so both Michael and David. So I would put him to the top from here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an intensely interesting character. I mean, it's more interesting than anything that...
It wouldn't surprise me, and I hope I get to see this, if I see Julio Torres for 15 more years, is that you pretty much get what you see here.
Right.
Like, this is kind of like, because I know him from a little bit of his writing on SNL. Like, he's got a very particular... I saw his hour, or was it an hour? Yeah, full hour comedy special on HBO. I
saw the
think
preview for that, and it seemed like he was not playing a character in Los Espookys.
No, he's just really kind of like weird, interesting, funny, askew takes on things. He kind of plays, and I think that is a bit, that is a character of that he's playing in the same way that like Will Ferrell, is essentially Will
Walton
Ferrell.
Goggins.
Yep, and like early Jim Carrey is like you're getting Jim Carrey no matter whether he's the Riddler, whether he's a pet detective, whether he's wearing a fucking mask, it's Jim Carrey, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a good fresh flavor. I like it. He's taking a trip to the top.
Okay.
Andrew Scott, priest from Fleabag. This guy is kind of having a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a renaissance.
He was never there to renaissance.
He's making the most of his spotlight in a career. He had a minor but memorable role in 1917. I saw him in a couple other things lately. But I actually like his performance better than, I would put him above the two demons, or the demon and angel in Good Omens, but below Julio Torres.
Okay. Yeah, that feels right to me.
Okay. Henry Cavill, as I said on Twitter, is Geralt of Rivia. I've never, before I'd watched this Netflix show, The Witcher, I had never played the video games. I'd never read the books, and I thought he looked goofy in the posters. But within like the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I get who this guy is. And he was selling a very particular kind of like a terse, laconic, amused up until he's pissed off and he's cutting you in half. He's kind of like in disbelief at all the bullshit that's going on around him. A little bit anachronism in like the modernity of his views and kind of sense of humor and viewpoint. And that I'm now 60 hours in The Witcher 3, and he is Geralt. So great. I like his physicality. I like everything he did with the performance. I like that he wore the stupid yellow eyes, which apparently is a big deal. Being able to wear and act in contacts is beyond some people. But I don't know. Maybe he's better than Michael or Sheen or David Tennant, but this is where like I'm
shade at Amelia Clark. Is that what you're doing there?
Huh?
Are you throwing shade at Amelia Clark?
I don't know. It's more shades of the producers and the people that couldn't make the stuff work. But
okay.
So yeah, I'm fine with leaving him there. Now Bill Hader is Barry Berkman on the titular Barry.
Man, he's so good.
He's better than the demons. He's better than Andrew Scott as the priest. He's better than Julio Torres. I mean, it's interesting. A lot of these guys, these are all comedy roles, like duking out. But I think he's given like the range he shows. He's hilarious, and he also is capable of generating real emotion here.
Yeah, and I love the moments where Barry turns from extremely subdued to like unleashing the rage, and we saw some of that in this season,
The
particularly.
repression, yeah.
Like when he's doing those plays, those rehearsals with Sally, and he is able to get to a place that is genuinely scary.
Yeah, when you tap that anger play in her ex, and it's like lit the stage on fire.
Right.
Pretty good stuff. So I think he's number one. There he goes to the top.
I am comfortable putting him there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll stay there, but so
Anthony Kerrigan is NoHo Hank from Barry. This is
along
my
the lines of the
actual
Julio
favorite
Torres.
character on the show.
Yeah, he's just a pleasure to watch. He's a ridiculous character.
Well, how would you describe him if someone hasn't seen him?
He's a do-nothing. I don't know. He's useless. He is, I guess, effeminate would be a word for his demeanor. Like, I don't know how to describe him. There's something about him that's also wrapped up in just the look.
He's like he's got like a new age, in touch with his feelings personality.
Okay.
In the body of a Chechnyan gangster.
Yeah, and he very much wants to be respected in that way. But he's too soft for most of the crime types in that show.
And not just soft, but also completely unskilled.
And he is completely
he's
unskilled.
bad at...
Useless is kind of where I was getting with that. Yeah. He's useless in the role he wants.
So, what do we do with NoHo Hank?
I don't know, man.
Do you think he's better than any of the demons? Either of the demons? Because the other thing is,
I think
this is a very supporting role.
It is, yeah.
But
it's a big season for him.
Yeah, I'd say that he's kind of like Amos on The Expanse, where it's a supporting role, but it's an ensemble. It's kind of an ensemble cast, and
yeah, I mean, I think he's.
Oh God, I tried to keep that from happening.
Yeah, I think he's better than the demons.
Is he better than Hot Priest from Fleabag?
He's more one note than Hot Priest.
I think it's hard to be that charming and appealing that Andrew Scott pulls off.
Oh, I agree. And he's got to show emotion underneath that sort of carefree attitude. Yeah, I like Andrew Scott's performance a lot, so I don't know if NoHo Hank beats it. I don't think any of the other performances from Barry beat it in my mind.
All right. So we're just going to drop it to right below Andrew Scott. Okay. Not a bad place to land if you're NoHo for now. Now let's talk about the rest of the gentlemen from Barry. You got Stephen Root, hilarious. Not as big of a role because him and Barry are on the outs this season, so he doesn't have as big of a role, but it's an important role. It's the arguable main villain.
Yeah, toward the very end of the season, he gets to do more. I don't know, because during the season he's working with the cops, right? He's being coerced into working with them, and so he has a lot of stuff to do around that. And then that whole thing blows up. And then his relationship with Barry blows up, and he's got to become a villain, just a straight up villain. And man, when that turn happens, I was really impressed.
Well, that's what's nice, because he's just a really good character actor. I think he lends more comedic than dramatic, but he's got those chops.
I mean, this is the guy who I first stumbled across in Office Space, playing Milton, who was a nothing of a human being.
Yep. He's the rootin' tootin' shooting judge and Justified.
And now he's a manipulator of a killer turned, villain. Like the guy you thought was helping Barry to now the guy who's very much not. And there's a lot of range in that performance.
Is there any daylight between Michael Sheen and David Tennant? Do you think he's better than Michael Sheen, I guess, as Aziraphale in Good Omens? Because you said I felt like there was some daylight between him and David there.
A little bit, yeah.
Could we slip him in there? Does that feel like something like
for now, yeah.
That?
Because here's the thing. I think anybody who's not like top 3 right now runs a real risk of being knocked out of the top 10 by the end of this.
You're probably right.
Because there are some fucking beasts toward the end of this list.
Henry Winkler as Gene Cosino?
Man, I liked him this season a lot. He might travel in a pack with Stephen Root.
Is he better than Stephen Root?
I
say no.
No, I don't think so.
I can't wait to see him next season, because next season he's primed to do.
He's gonna have a lot to do.
Some really difficult, good stuff.
Yeah.
Might not make it out of next season alive.
Maybe not.
All right, so let's do that then. Yeah. Okay, that brings us to Wes Chatham.
I thought you said Henry Winkler was not better than Stephen Root.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Which I agreed with. Again, not that it matters. Top 10 is going to be packed.
Okay, let's go to Wes Chatham as Amos from The Expanse. I think he is better than everybody except Bill Hader.
Wow, you're really in the tank for Amos, aren't you?
I think, well, yes, but also Amos was funny. Amos was poignant. Amos was tragic this season. Mm-hmm. He gave me a lot of good looks, and yes, I'm in the tank for Amos. But I think it's defensible. Like he's one of the main crew of 4 on the show that's got what was there? There's 3 roles maybe more important than his this season.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, the real questions start happening around Andrew Scott. Like when we're talking about raising Wes Chatham above Andrew Scott.
So you're saying there's no debate. This is fine.
That's totally fine.
Okay,
yeah.
So that moves him right between on the number 4 spot, right underneath Andrew Scott. Why is Amos not as good as the Priest? I kind of think you're right because, like I said, Andrew Scott plays like a completely unobtainable romantic interest for Fleabag. That then you're like, oh well, maybe, and then like he's very vulnerable, and then there's like he also brings like some true sexual heat, like that scene where he comes out of the confession booth and says, "Neil, holy shit,
yeah,
oh my god."
And there's the scene in the cafe when Fleabag realizes that he's taking some kind of pity on her as someone who has not found God or something.
Yeah.
Something is like. He looks at her as a damage that he needs to fix.
Yeah.
The way he plays that is just perfect. Both of them, actually. There's a moment where they both realize, oh shit, the real nature of this relationship has been uncovered, and it's a little bit more disturbing than we all thought.
Yes.
And how he kind of skulks out of that cafe really like hit me as a great performance.
Okay.
Because it was very different. Like that, the whole demeanor of that character switched in that moment. And
okay. Because I think it's easy to put him over NoHo, but you're right. He starts running into problems. In fact, Andrew Scott might need to go up a bit.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
Okay. Let's talk Thomas Jane as Joe Miller. Is he better?
Joe. His first name is Miller. Joe. Miller's first name is Joe.
I got this from Wikipedia.
That's
Joe
a bad
Miller.
First name, Miller.
He's just some Joe.
I only know him as Miller.
Thomas Jane as
Joe.
Miller from The Expanse.
Can we give him a better first name? Can we give him like
Thaddeus?
Thaddeus is a better first
Bartholomew.
name. Isn't a Thaddeus on this list somewhere?
Probably.
Yeah, Thaddeus Street, Black Frankie.
There you go.
He's a badass.
What do you think about... Because here's the thing. What he's playing is very tough and ill-defined and nebulous, but he's crushing it, what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's playing this like...
He brings an alien quality to it.
Yeah. And they help him with special effects, and they give him like a little bit of a stutter and stuff, but like he's... it's very neat to see him switch between the investigator and Miller,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's pretty good, and it's hard to do. But he's not better than Amos.
I was gonna ask, if you were to compare it to Amos, where would you?
No,
Where'd you
I
come
don't.
down?
I don't think he's better than Amos. So
He also has so very little to do this season.
right.
Like there are 3 scenes maybe with him in it.
Yeah, there's whole episodes where he's completely AWOL. So I think.
Here's something maybe controversial. I'm okay leaving him where he's at
Okay.
because he's not gonna crack the top 10 just simply because the role wasn't there.
I just flipped. I put him over. I put him over the Geralt of Rivia bar. So he's sitting at 10th place. Stephen Strait, James Holden.
He's much better this season.
Yeah, honestly,
And I don't
think
know if that's because he has a harder thing to do, or just like a more obvious thing to do. Like playing very tired is kind of a more obvious thing than playing very like altruistic.
But he did one of the reasons Amos works so well is because he's such a good scene partner.
Yeah.
Like, the relationship between these 2 men was sold very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think that complaints about Stephen Strait's acting have been kind of overblown since like essentially season 2, because he just keeps getting better and better. And I think also it's hard to tell how much is him getting better and how much is just the character of Holden is slowly removing the stick out of his ass.
Yeah.
But
He's becoming a more nuanced character, which leads to better performances.
But I also don't think he's better than Amos. And I don't know if that's character, that's actor, that's material or what. But
I know in this season he's able to get over Miller. Thomas Jane.
Sure.
So maybe we can start there.
Okay.
Let's start him in number 10.
Was he better? Is he better than the demons? Why sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Probably not.
Really?
I don't know. Both those demons are just so flamboyant in their own ways, where Stephen Strait is playing a very straight character. Like, James Holden is not a particularly interesting or nuanced character. He's becoming more so. And I think, but I don't know. James Holden is just not, it's not a particularly meaty role. Whereas something like Crowley and Aziraphale are.
Okay. Well, then, how about Tim Blake Nelson as Wade Tillman, the Looking Glass on Watchmen?
Yeah, man. Some of those episodes where we delve into his backstory and the pathos that has caused were powerful. And I don't know if it's just for me personally, because the backstory is so relatable. Like,
yeah, I want to give him credit for all the young kids acting too, but like, no,
right? That's not him.
Yeah, that's his character. I'm judging a character, not a performance.
Here,
okay, big problems. Most of a scene, he's wearing a reflective mylar mask.
True.
So that's like 70% of his scenes. Another 20% of the scenes, he's wearing it where it covers his eyes or up to his nose. And then there's like 10% where he's just like acting.
Yeah.
And he's excellent. But he's, it's like one of those, like, kind of, Midwestern men. They're not very demonstrative. Like, he starts to show like some anger and frustration, but he's not allowed to just kind of like fly the way some of these other people are. I think the role holds him back a little bit.
I agree. I think he's excellent in the role. But you're right. He doesn't get a big opportunity to shine.
So what does that mean? Like, I think that he is in the Thomas Jane. Yeah, like maybe better than both of them, but like that's about where he's going to roll.
Yeah.
Now, Jeremy Irons as Adrian Veidt from The Watchmen. Boy. Because this is not this is a full-on scenery-chewing, wallowing in the shit performance, and Jeremy Irons is kind of built for those kind of roles.
Yeah.
So I think he's up there in the top 5, if you ask me. Like maybe number 5, honestly.
In the moments where
maybe number 4.
he breaks out of that mold, that's where you see kind of the stuff that impresses me is when
what
you
are
show
those
more
moments?
of the range. Like the moment he has with Dr. Manhattan where he asks to be transported to fucking
Yeah.
Europa.
Europa. Uh-huh.
There's a sadness, there's a weight in that performance that doesn't, crack the surface very often.
Mm-hmm.
Is he better than NoHo Hank? Because that's also a scenery chewing performance.
It's tough because you got comedy versus drama.
You've got what I would argue is a leading role in an ensemble cast versus less so in an ensemble cast in NoHo Hank. I don't know, man. What are you thinking?
He does a lot of solo work too, or work against. Not that they're bad actors, but they're actors playing unfinished people.
Yeah.
Like they're playing people that are not all there. He doesn't have like a Regina King to really spar with until the very end of the series. So I think that counts as well. But yeah, I mean, I could see an argument for putting him above Wes. Just in terms of like fucking acting and overpowering the screen with his presence and charisma. But
I mean, Wes Chatham is exactly what he needs to be for Amos. Like I cannot imagine a better actor or an actor more suited to that role.
Okay, well,
in physical appearance.
Let's leave him there then and move on to Rami Malek from Mr. Robot. He plays the title character. Well, not the title character. He plays the lead character, Elliot Alderson.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he goes all the way to the top.
Okay, can we let's package Elliot Villar up there too as Fernando Vera, and then we can maybe talk about that because.
Okay, you want to take him to the top? Because I'm saying hell no.
I just want to put him there and then we'll adjust him because like
to the top.
When I think of season 4 of Mr. Robot, I think of them working off of each other. Not always. I mean, there's one standout episode in particular that's just like you have any lesser performances and that episode crumbles. And when I look at the disparity between Elliot Villar as a person and Fernando Vera as a character, my mind is blown. Like if you've seen his interviews,
I haven't. That's the thing.
You have?
I haven't.
Oh, he is nothing like Fernando Vera.
Does he have like a posh British accent? Like what? Like
no, but he seems like a very straight-laced, like mild-mannered kind of person as an actor who takes his craft very seriously, and it turns out performances like Fernando Vera, which.
The problem with Fernando Vera,
be farther from who he is.
The problem with Fernando Vera is I don't think that he was conceived in season 1 to do the things that he eventually did in season 4. Like I'll give Sam a lot of credit for like playing straight a lot of the stuff from the beginning, but this guy's always a bit of like a mini boss for level 1 of Mr. Robot and a little bit of a kind of comic relief. Although he is menacing, he's always menacing, but like he's written like a joke.
At
he's
times,
written like a Wayans Brothers parody of a gangster.
Yeah, like a warrior poet, like a novice warrior poet, right?
Yeah.
It's like this weird.
So like I feel like the character's conception is a little off, and he really only has the one episode.
Yeah.
And the reason that that's memorable is because of what the hell Rami Malek is doing and Gloria Rubin is doing. And the thing is like I didn't I don't know, maybe we should have put Gloria Rubin as forth as a female actor, but I just feel like he's way overrated because I mean, I don't know, maybe you got a handle on it from seeing the interviews and stuff, but I feel like if you went and did a casting call for like tough guy, he is not that far above the replacement value of just an average like someone that you bring in. Like any male actor from The Wire could have played this role better and more authentic and scarier, more insightful. Like there's like I don't know. Like I like this is excellent material. This is like some fucking mammoth stuff that they're able to do in this the stage play of an episode, and I don't know. Like it's wild to put him above like the Bill Hader and
Yeah,
Jeremy
I'm not
Irons.
even saying he should stay here.
Okay, let's say
I
how
don't
far
even
he
know
drops.
if Rami Malek stays where
Yeah,
he is, but like
I'm fine with putting Rami Malek over Bill Hader. He's fine with being number one for now, but I'm saying Elliot drops. He's not as good as Bill, not as good as Julio, not as good as Andrew Scott, the priest in Fleabag. He's not as good as.
yeah. So the thing that holds Elliot Villar back in my mind is that the role is very small. He has one episode where he really just crushes it in my mind. Like I'm not even sure I agree with your assessment that anyone from The Wire could have done better. I think anyone from The Wire could have pulled it off.
Okay.
I think Villar's, there's something about that particular character which is extra menacing to me. But like the role is so small. It's one episode essentially. So. Yeah, I'm fine moving him down.
Here's
where do I go?
This
with
is what I would do.
Okay.
And actually, I'd probably do. I'd almost do like that. But I'd also hear an argument for like,
I think I'm more.
I need to start
more
narrating
like
what I'm doing more often because most people listen to this podcast so to watch the video. But
well, that's their fault. It's a very visual thing.
So right now he's right underneath. He's at the number 4 spot of the Andrew Scott for portrayal of Priest from Fleabag.
I think I almost drop him. I can see a case for dropping him to 8.
Okay, that's where. So now
Jeremy Irons is a more starring role. And he.
Do you mean doing like? Do you mean like dropping him?
No, just like you got it there.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of. And again, like I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me.
All right, well, let's leave it like that and see what happens. So now where are we? Oh, BD Wong. Holy shit.
Here's to the top.
Not to the tippy top. Let's be a little bit more like is that too high? BD Wong is White Rose and Mr. Robot currently is sitting at number 3 behind Rami Malek and Bill Hader.
It wouldn't surprise me if we've given BD Wong the best male actor role or the best male actor Baldy every year he's been eligible because that role is just built to win awards in my opinion.
Sure.
It's one of those things where like, oh, Dustin Hoffman, of course he won for Rain Man. Like, it's just one of those things that is the range required is so. This is also an
endangered animal. Like 10 years from now, you're never going to see a gay man play a trans woman. I think it's interesting in this, and like
you're
never
probably
seen.
right.
I've
it
seen
would be
a
trans man or trans woman playing.
Yeah, I've seen a little
role.
bit of grumbling in that. Like, well, why can? But like, also they make a big deal of the duality of his role, where he has to play very masculine.
Yeah.
As his public persona, and then feminine as his true self as White Rose. But like, I think these type of performances, like the Jared Leto's of the Dallas Buyers, you're just not going to see them very, and for rightly so. Like if you got a person, that more fits the role, then you should use that. Yeah, I know it's called acting, but.
And I think like the role of White Rose in the story, like the things that White Rose as a character is meant to do, they require a level of acting that is no less than what BD Wong brings to it.
Oh, like
because you don't believe the story if you don't believe the character.
Her, like some of the unhinged laughter and like how dare you call me? What was it? Like say I don't care. I forget exactly. Like her sparring with Elliot at the nuclear reactor was just amazing. Like you felt like you were catching fire watching it. So I don't think BD can get higher. Also, he's had the most fun being White Rose. His Twitter feed was a delight throughout the whole season. Yeah. But I think he's not going to be able to overcome Bill Hader, because you're talking about Bill Hader did a lot of range and did a lot of amazing stuff, and he did it throughout the entire season as the lead of the show, and certainly Mr. Wong did not.
I don't know that I agree, but how strongly do I want to fight for this when I know there are actually people who are probably going to edge out others here.
Okay. Well, you want to keep going then?
Yeah.
Okay. Scoot McNairy as Tom Purcell from True Detective.
So he's
I've never
not
seen
a
this
minor role.
I've never seen this Scoot. Also,
This Scoot, yeah.
This is a very distinct Scoot. Yep.
And he has a lot of grief to portray.
This is kind of like Fargo season 3 Scoot. That was not a very long-lived Scoot.
Refresh my memory.
He's the guy that got the air conditioner dropped on him, right? He was one of the parolees that Ewan McGregor was keeping his eye on. This is almost the exact same role now that I think about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Portrayed here, which I think suits Scoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a for being the father of the murdered child, I think there's not a whole lot for him to do throughout the season. It doesn't focus on him. He's a supporting actor for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to, I'm kind of fine with leaving where he's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave him there.
Another one I'm kind of fine with leaving where he's at. Anthony Starr is John, the Homelander from
really?
The Boys.
Because I think he's terrifying in a way that I've not seen before, and maybe that's just the character. Maybe it's just a power inherent in Homelander. But the way he schmoozes a crowd and then immediately turns around and kills a bunch of people or dooms a bunch of people in an airplane.
Yeah, he's a sociopath.
Callously. Yeah, that flip-flop, that switch that flips on and off in his head is intensely interesting to me. And Anthony Starr is able to do that.
I saw this guy toil for obscurity as the lead on Banshee for years and have that, he's so fucking intense and dangerous, but he was a good guy. He's like an anti-hero at the heart of gold. And this is he plays that, big blue Boy Scout Superman character, but he's an actual scary psychopath. It's great. I just don't know, who do you put him above? If you want to,
in my mind, he's going to the top 10 currently.
Really? Because I think he starts having trouble right around here. Maybe he gets over that, there, maybe.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I guess the highest, this is as far as the top I would, because I could actually make an argument, because that's the thing is there's a rock, paper, scissors with some of this stuff where it's well, he's not better than this, but he's definitely better than that.
But he's in it less.
He's in,
The character is more the star here than the actor, yeah.
So you like this, or So do you want him underneath? Is he better than Stephen Root?
I think he's better than everybody except maybe Vera.
All right, so that means he's right at number 9, right underneath Elliot Villar.
That's how I feel about it. I was really impressed by the character.
From Mr. Robot. Okay. Let's go down to James Franco as Vincent Martino, Frankie Martino. This guy's got to be top 5. He's better than B.D. Wong.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think any one of these characters is particularly hard to play.
But he did
to play both of them.
He carries entire scenes by himself with his identical twin brother, who is himself.
No, it's impressive, and the personalities are night and day.
Yeah, I don't they used to do a lot with makeup and costume to tell, but by the end of the series, I could tell just by looking at them, looking at the way they walked, look at the way they held their shoulders, he's doing.
Hearing the voice,
and I compare this to what Ewan McGregor did in Fargo, and it's it makes it look like a junior high production.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So I think he's at the number 3 spot right now, right above B.D. Wong and right behind Bill Hader.
I will say it's harder to differentiate a Vincent Martino from a Frankie Martino than it is a Minister Zhang from White Rose.
That's true.
Because a lot of the character is doing that for you, whereas you have to bring that to the character of Vincent and Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave him there and see how this shakes out.
How about Chris Coy as Paul Hendrickson from The Deuce?
Man, his story is so sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
mean, there's so many things he gets to do in this season. There's the, like we talked about this a lot on the podcast of like, what kind of trauma it inflicted on an entire generation of gay men to live through the AIDS crisis, especially if you're in a major metropolitan area where it's just like, taken out.
Not to mention you ran a club for those people.
Right. And, he's like trying to be he's trying to be a civic minded community leader. He's trying to be an aggrieved, he's a grieved lover of his boyfriend who's dying of AIDS. He's probably a victim himself. He gets to then play like this really tough scene where he's trying to make peace with his dying boyfriend's parents. And his boyfriend's not even aware enough to like hold on to her, and he's like carrying all this on himself. And then he
has to tell them that he's passed.
It's super, super heartbreaking, and I think that I'm going to start the bidding at him being better than Homelander.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. I think he's better than Fernando Vera for Mr. Robot. I think he's better. He's better than Amos. He's better than the Priest. Better than Julio Torres. BD Wong. I think he's better than BD Wong. But I don't know, man. Like BD, like White Rose's backstory episode is, I don't know. It's a mess. It doesn't work as well. But then again, they didn't have 10 episodes. Not only 10 episodes, but going like, Paul and his boyfriend's relationship goes back to last season as well. They didn't have all that to work with. So, it's a conversation to be had. I think he's slightly nudges out Mr. Wong. What do you think?
Let's leave him here for now, because I have a feeling we're gonna have to revisit this chunk.
Sure.
This like 4 through 7 chunk.
Mustafa Shakir as Big Mike on the Deuce is always kind of like one of my as a fan favorite characters.
Yeah, he's great.
And I was worried that he wouldn't have a lot to do this season, and he didn't. Then he came down with AIDS himself. And there's this fantastic scene he gets to share with Vincent in the cabin where he's kind of looking back on his life and kind of like the burn briefly nature of it, and how like he doesn't have any regrets. And that like really elevated that kind of stuff. Or that moment when he walked out of the club, like being done with that, he did a lot of I don't know, like a lot of good bro performance.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like there's like a genre of like two men that are like emotionally buttoned down that love each other and they can't say it like that. Yeah. But
he did a good bro performance, but there wasn't a lot. And that's the downfall of this role, in my opinion, is he just doesn't get the opportunities to do what he's clearly capable of based on that one scene.
All right. I'm gonna put him above Stephen Root on Barry. How's that sit with you?
Man, maybe Tim Blake Nelson needs to go higher. I don't know.
It's a tough list this year.
Yeah, it really is. There were some great performances. Okay, let's leave him there for now, because honestly, anything that's not top 10, I don't care too much about.
Here's the thing: Thaddeus Street is Black Frankie in the Deuce. He's essentially he had a lot of the things I really loved about him is like his reactions to
Bobby.
Like Bobby's completely inability to run this brothel with any kind of like actual competition or business things to worry about, and him just being like in constant disbelief at this man's incompetence.
No, he's the guy really running the show there.
He really is, but and him's like swinging in like he had that thing where it's like you knew he was a combat. He'd seen combat, or like maybe he was did I make this up in my mind that he's a combat medic in Vietnam, or was that established?
I don't think he's a combat medic. He was certainly in the war, though.
But that guy, he goes instantly and trakes this guy in a hotel room because he's dying and he doesn't want I don't know. But he doesn't have a lot of like he plays like this all with the bravado of like a Terminator.
Yeah, he's just calm and cool in any situation he's in.
He's Brad Pitt and Ad Astra. His heart rate never got over 45 this entire season. Even when he's going down to Rikers, when he's
Does that hurt his chances here?
I think
that he just plays this one note cool guy through the whole thing.
He's just really fucking cool. He's slightly above Joey Badass and Mr. Robot, but he's very, very, very cool. I don't know what to do with him. Is he fine where he's at? I just kind of want to talk about him, recognize that he did really good work on a really good show.
Yeah, he did, but I think he's okay here.
Okay. Jared Harris as Valerie Legasov in Chernobyl. Here's the thing. This is a great role in a great show, but he's playing like an emotionally buttoned down Russian. He probably gets to demonstrate more than almost anybody else, but still, like, I mean, look, let's put him above Elliot Villar as the opening bid. Can he get over Jeremy? Can he get over Jeremy Irons? If he gets over Jeremy Irons, then I think he stops at like Chris Coy. Right now, he's at number 10 spot, right underneath Jeremy Irons from The Watchmen. And if he gets past that, I feel like he's going to go to
Okay,
Chris
let me
Coy
make an
territory.
argument for Jared Harris at number 9 currently. Take him over Jeremy Irons.
Okay.
But I think he stops at Wes Chatham because Wes Chatham, he has never had a season to really shine. And I felt like this one more than any gave him the opportunity to do so because I certainly gained a better understanding of who the show character Amos is in this season. When he loses his sight, he's forced to grapple with some ideas that are very uncomfortable for him.
Yeah, being completely vulnerable and dependent.
Right. And Wes Chatham has never been asked to do that. He's never been asked to do anything but be a machine in this show.
Yeah. Amos, the character himself, probably hasn't been asked to do that since he's like 5 years old.
Exactly. Yeah.
And which is why it's so terrified. So, yeah, okay. Like I said, I love Jared Harris. I thought he did a great job. It's not quite the showcase he had in the season 1, The Terror, but...
Yeah, but it is really strong. Man, I have a hard time. Is he better than Wes Chatham?
I think so.
There's more there.
Like I said, I'm kind of...
Him just wrestling with the idea that this could be a global catastrophe. Or certainly a large regional catastrophe.
Plus, he plays that like we talked about, he's like torn between multiple worlds. Like he's like the bad cop to the Politburo, but he's also kind of trying to good cop the rest of the scientists and that. Like he's kind of caught in this.
Here's the fucking thing with The Expanse. I think The Expanse is perhaps one of the best shows on television. It's definitely the best sci-fi show on television right now. It's more entertainment than it is to be taken very seriously for the most part, and the parts of it that are very serious are broader in scope than a single actor's performance.
There's a lot of allegory there, but it's not the work of any one person.
Whereas Jared Harris, that Chernobyl thing is very serious and very heavy and important in the same ways that a lot of the Expanse stuff is. Like,
but it's like, it's like as much as I like Stellan Skarsgård, he's the one who would talk as his Boris Sherbina is kind of not good, not great, not terrible. He's half of it's just Stellan Skarsgård clearing his throat perpetually and never changing vocal or facial expression.
Yeah, and I believe Jared Harris is better than Stellan Skarsgård, or he's given a meteor role at least.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. It's like this guy's not, they're not swinging for the emotional fences here.
No.
How do you feel? The heavy lifting is done by just seeing these people in this situation and thinking, "Oh my God!"
Right. The terror of the scenario. How do you feel about Jared Harris at 8?
Like I said, I'm prepared to put him at 6. Because, like, okay, if you make the argument that he's better than Wes, why is he not better than Andrew Scott on Priest, or a Priest on Fleabag? Why is he not better than the goofy Julio Torres portrayal at Los Spookies? I can tell you exactly why he's not better than Chris Coy.
I think Andrew Scott is doing something that's more subtle and frankly harder to convey the right emotions. Like Chernobyl, it's pretty easy, right? You know what you're supposed to be feeling in any scene. And Jared Harris gets those emotions out of you, but he isn't asked to do anything particularly difficult.
Okay.
Whereas Andrew Scott's doing work in the gray areas, and that's hard to me.
Let's talk about Stellan Skarsgård, who plays the aforementioned Boris Sherbina.
Yeah, not as high as Jared Harris, right?
What are we thinking? Is he better than Tim Blake Nelson? Because, like, to me, that's where... Now, is Tim Blake Nelson better than where he's at? I don't know, but like I feel like that's the role that's kind of analogous.
Okay, Stephen Strait versus Stellan Skarsgård. The double S versus double S.
I put him above Stephen Strait.
Ooh.
Feel bad because I'm putting him above a man who I just said essentially doesn't change facial expression and just talks like this.
That's what I'm thinking.
And the guy who wears the tin foil over his face for 90% of his scenes. But
maybe Skarsgård should have covered his face in foil.
there you go.
That's all I'm saying. And then maybe he'd be 19.
Maybe he wouldn't have died of whatever weird cancer if he covered more of his body with some reflective, shiny metal surface.
Just lead shield.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to argue for him going higher?
Not much, and it ultimately is inconsequential, so no.
All right. Mahershala Ali, Wayne Hayes, True Detective Season 3.
And Steven Dorff to the top.
To the top?
I want to see them go to the top, and then we can talk about it.
Okay. All right. Shit.
Yeah. No, come on.
They are now at the tippy top.
That feels good.
Okay. Is Mahershala Ali better than Rami Malek? Final season of True Detective, or I say no.
Maybe both. I was amazed at how well Mahershala was able to portray 3 different eras of the same man.
Mm-hmm.
Like when his old man performance is fantastic.
Strong.
Yeah. Especially when you talk about it in terms of an old man with some form of dementia. I was very, very impressed.
Plus, you want to talk dying breed? How many roles that portraying conservative black men are you going to get in your career? Because that's exactly like and I thought that was something that was really funny, like watching, Wayne duel with a much more liberal counterculture. Embedded in the Black Power movement, Amelia. That was one of the treats of the season. So like, I think he's really good. I think he's not as he doesn't have the role. It's not as good as role as Elliot Alderson on Mr. Robot, especially in the final season. But he's better than Bill Hader probably. Like
he might be my number 1 pick on this.
You could definitely make that argument. Because
maybe we'll talk about Rami and Mahershala because I think they are the number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And Bill Hader is almost certainly number 3.
All right, so what are we going to do with Steven Dorff? He's going to be underneath the top 3. So right now we got Rami as 1, which might be switched with Mahershala as 2. Those are Mr. Robot and True Detective. Bill Hader from
this
Barry.
Is killing me.
Steven Dorff is not as good as James Franco from The Deuce, I say. Not as good as B.D. Wong. Not as good as Chris Coy. But that's probably as far as he's going to fall. Because then he starts getting to the funny roles. And I actually think what he did there, like kind of playing the heartbroken, dealing with this old man that he has enmity with, but also is not all there and has got some dementia, and how he switched from like really being mad at him to realizing his limitations and the compassion and empathy that flows from there. I really like that.
I remember thinking when I saw True Detective Season 3 that scene on the porch between Mahershala Ali and Steven Dorff was the best piece of acting that I had seen to that point this year.
Which was like
it was early in the year.
Yeah.
Or the best, I guess, recent piece of acting.
Sure. Yeah. All working through aging makeup. Yeah.
Man, and then I remember thinking the same about B.D. Wong in the backstory episode for White Rose. Mm-hmm. Do I remember thinking that about James Franco?
That's a pretty good way to look at it.
I mean, how do you turn your nose up at the scene where he's acting against himself, dying on the floor?
Yeah, playing his own brother dying.
It's difficult.
There's some comedy there too, because
the
early stages of Frankie's like amateur porn distributor career was really funny.
I think I'm coming around on Steven Dorff might be number 8, because I think of those moments with Chris Coy as Paul in The Deuce.
Because I remember that episode where he's dealing with his boyfriend's parents as being some of the best acting I've ever seen too. Just like tired in his soul.
And I'm okay separating Mahershala from Steven Dorff here because of the added dementia wrinkle.
And you didn't
Like, the way he
Stephen.
played
You
that.
never got to see his interior, his home life, like a little bit, but like
A little bit. He had dogs.
He was
Like, that's the
supporting
thing.
to Mahershala star for sure.
I agree.
Okay.
Goddamn. Yeah. Everybody is so fucking good at the top of this list.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Ian McShane as Mr. Friday American Gods.
No, this was the cutoff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
I think
yeah.
now we just have to maybe sort this top 10, make sure we're okay with this top 10.
Okay.
And we're good.
Are we good with this? God damn it, Wes Chatham not making
He got
the cut.
edged out, didn't he? Is there anybody that you would swap him for? Man, I can't see it. I'm really not seeing a path to Wes on the top 10 here.
Yeah, you hose over Jared Harris.
I mean, Jared Harris did, I think,
Just
win
by
last
fan
year.
fiat.
Did Jared Harris win for the Terror
because
last
the Terror
year?
was like 2 years ago.
Or did he win 2 years ago for that?
Did he? I don't know. Let me see.
Because I'm willing to show a little
need to
bias here on the tail end of the list.
Baldies.
A little recency and win bias.
Baldies. See, I think this is horseshit. So let's
willing
see.
to
Best
spread the
male
Baldy
actor.
love around.
Oh wow, shit! He did win last year.
For the Terror.
Nudged out Gary Carr as the Deuce from the Deuce. Bill Hader as Barry.
Yeah, I thought he might have.
Okay. I still think it's not fair.
No, I agree, but do you want to do it at the tail end of this list with the caveat that if people watching these deliberations they know we just wanted to get Wes Chatham's
So what
name
Expanse
in there.
get the number 4 show overall this year?
That sounds right to me, but
And yet I don't think a single person cracked the top 10 of our acting list.
drama. Expanse number 3.
Okay. I'm pretty sure
Oh, spoiler alert if you haven't watched that one yet. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure that Avasarala didn't crack the top 10
No.
on acting. So like it's weird that you got a number 3 show that has, like this is always the you got a show that's
Well, I think I stated why I think that is, because it's a more entertaining show which doesn't give the characters super meaty things to do.
That's true.
They're more fantasy characters, right? They're more surface level characters.
and yet we had no problem with like Peter Dinklage.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Like Amos
His
didn't have like a
performance
season 4 Tyrion arc.
He has
to play.
tiny little moments. That's the thing about Amos. He has moments that hit throughout the
Yes.
season, but it's like a 15-second moment. It's
The,
not
you
a
know,
monologue.
I'm that guy. How about now? I'm free now.
Right.
Thank you. Those are like iconic.
That's a 30-second
moments.
scene that is perfect,
Uh-huh.
but it's not a 5-minute monologue, right?
Yeah.
Where the character has to break down into tears and
And he is playing an
transform.
emotionally repressed kind of, psychopath himself. So like, I okay, that stings. It stings, but fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. All right. Is anybody else like?
it stings for me that Elliot Villar is not higher on this list, because I do really respect what he was able to bring to a character that is kind of, in some ways, fundamentally silly. But
Yeah.
I'm not willing to fight for him on the top
Nobody
10.
in The Watchmen made it in the top 10.
Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah. I mean, I think the star performance was Regina King, who did make it into the top 10.
Oh
on
yeah, she made it. I think the top 3,
female actor.
if not the top 2. That's weird. I know you're really holding a Villar-shaped torch for
for Villar, yeah.
Vera there.
I am, but I understand he's not going to make it on the list.
But yeah, I think I'm good with this top 10. Let's see if it's okay. So Rami Malek better than Mahershala, but that's hard to say. But it's also,
God, I just think about the scene where he
Is
has
what-
the
it-
breakthrough.
Yeah, I was gonna say is what Rami did in that 5-act play better than anything that Mahershala did in True Detective.
I never know where to weigh really powerful performances.
Yeah.
Like Rami Malek has to give a truly powerful performance.
It's showy,
but it's very showy. And that's where I get hung up. I'm like, oh, is subtlety better? Is like playing in the shades of gray better than having a big standout showy scene where you can really just let it all out there? But I think it was warranted in Elliot Alderson's case.
Mhm.
Like, this is a moment where he needs to have a showy display. Like this is a turning point in his life, whereas Mahershala doesn't ever have a turning point in his life. We kind of just get to see the entirety of the life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the nuance brought to that is impressive, though not as showy as what Rami does.
Right. And also Mr. Elliott's talking in a time period where like men are going to therapy and taking medication and talking, and whereas this other setting was in where guys didn't do that. They just repressed and didn't talk about it. And that was one of the frustrations of him and his wife, is that he would have all this anger and stuff he'd bring home from work, but yeah, I'm okay. So I'm fine with Bill Hader being at 3. Then I'm fine with James. Okay, how are you with James Franco and BD Wong?
I'm borderline, but the distinctiveness between Vincent and Frankie, I think, is what pushes it over the edge to me.
Okay. What about BD Wong and Chris Coy as Paul Hendrickson from The Deuce? I think I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think I'm fine with everything. And we actually had 2 comedic actors crack the top 10. I don't know if that's how often that's happened.
Fleabag is such a borderline comedy for me. It's like Loads of Spookies is ridiculous. It's only comedy.
Man, Bill Hader got 3rd place last year too.
Did he?
Yeah. There's a bunch of Brian Tyree Henry got as Paperboy from Atlanta. Donald Glover.
I haven't seen that.
From Atlanta.
This will be the year that I finally go back and watch Atlanta.
I think
when the 4th season comes out.
It'd be a real treat. It'd be a real treat.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, like, I didn't put anybody on Legion on here because it wasn't actually bald move coverage. But I don't know. I don't know who would have sniffed the top 10 in this murder. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'd have somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd have I've forgotten David from Legion. Maybe he'd be there like in the 7-8 spot. Maybe the guy that played Farouk would be there. But yeah, you got a top. That's a pretty good top 10 list.
I think so.
All right, done with the male actor deliberations.